Hey guys, welcome back to Sensei's Journey. I'm the anime trainer, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about something that connects to a video I did a couple days ago when I was up in the mountains, like 6,000 feet elevation, and I felt that how different that was from being on sea level. And I kind of wanted to communicate some thoughts about elevation training, but specifically today, about elevation training using a mask. Now, there's plenty of people that for the past 10 years or more have been using elevation training masks, or they've had a couple of different companies that make them, and there's like a 2.0 version of one of them now. And they apparently use them to mimic training at elevation. And so when you train at elevation, what you're experiencing is a lack of a percentage of, there's less oxygen in the air that you're breathing. So what happens is that your body adapts to that over a long period of time. Mind you, it's not just one session, you have to be there for a little while. Your body adapts to that by increasing your red blood cell count. So you have a higher density of red blood cells in your blood. So when you go back down to sea level or to a lower elevation, your performance increases because you have access to more oxygen, because you can carry more oxygen, because your body has been conditioned to use less oxygen to perform. And now you have access to more. And so a lot of people train in elevation. So sometimes they train in elevation and then they live on sea level, or they live at elevation and then they train at sea level. And there is some question about which one's the best. Most of the studies seem to point to training at sea level and living at elevation. So when you live at elevation, you are exposed to the lower oxygen content for a longer period of time, which gives you the ability to produce that adaptation. While training at sea level allows you to get higher performance, because when you are training at elevation, you're working hard, it feels difficult, but you're not able to perform at the same with speed, strength, endurance as you would at sea level. So when you have access to that oxygen, it allows you to be able to push your systems harder, which allows those other adaptations to take place, because the adaptation for your oxygen consumption is taking place where you live, which is at elevation. So let's talk about the masks. Do the masks improve performance? The question is a big question, and the answer is yes. They do improve performance, but not in the way that they are marketed. The improvement in performance actually comes from an increase in their ability to breathe. So there's the muscles of the lungs are improved through that it's like a respiratory training device. So you have the ability to breathe better because you have had to push oxygen through the mask, which is a smaller space, and so it's more difficult to do that. And so you have some increase in the functionality of the respiratory muscles. Now, that's great. That's fantastic. It does improve some markers of fitness and performance, but that is not the same adaptation as training at elevation. And the reason that it does not produce the same adaptation that training at elevation, that living or training at elevation regularly does, is because the percentage of oxygen that you are taking in while wearing the training mask is the same percentage of oxygen that you would be breathing if you did not have the mask on. And remember, the thing that produces the adaptation that you're looking for, which is the increase in density of red blood cells, is a product of a lower percentage of oxygen in the air that you're breathing. And so because that is not there, that adaptation does not occur. There are other adaptations that do occur. Like I said, the respiratory muscles are stronger, and so you do get an increase in performance that way, but it's not the same adaptation. And so you can't, it shouldn't be marketed in that fashion. So that's definitely something that, because lots of people use it, and there's nothing wrong with using it because it does have some use, but at least know what you're using it for, because it's not the same thing. Because if you train with an elevation mask to prepare for competing at elevation, it will not work. You will not have the adaptations necessary to perform at the level that you think you're going to be able to perform at. It's just not going to exist. So if you have a race at elevation, or a fight at elevation, or any other kind of athletic event at elevation, the only way to get ready for that is to have elevation be part of your training or living, situation during your training. It's the only way to get ready for it. Or just to realize that whenever you do perform, you're going to have a significant drop in your performance. So, when using masks, know what you're doing with it, and know what it's for. I'm going to link the study in the description, and you have obviously seen it on the screen up till now. A couple of the things that I was talking about. But for instance, in one of the sections of the study, they showed that there was a oxygen saturation drop of about 2% in the group that was doing the high intensity work with the masks on. But that is in the range of someone who is doing high intensity work, and it's not in the level of oxygen saturation necessary to be able to produce the adaptations that you're looking for, because the oxygen has to be much lower to be able to produce that adaptation. So I don't know if this is something that's not necessarily new if you've done any sort of reading in fitness academia or whatever. So if you've done any sort of that, I'm probably telling you something that you already know, but there are plenty of people who may not know this. And if you didn't know this or what adaptation actually occurs with a training mask, please let me know in the comments and let me know if this helped you out. And if you have any other questions about it, because it's there's lots of things that people think they're doing when they're training and don't realize that they're training for something else. So if you have specific goals, you need to make sure that your training is in line with those goals based on the adaptation that training produces. So thanks very much for listening to this, and if you guys have any questions, like I said, leave them in the comments. And until next time, guys, good luck and train hard.